Hi, my name is Jackie Morrissey, and I work with the Office of Curriculum and Instruction. I'm super excited to be here with you today to talk with you about this new series, all about All Block, exploring the additional language and literacy component of the 3-5 EL education curriculum. We have three objectives for this series. It is to gain a deeper understanding of those five all block rotations and components. We're going to be looking at or examining the key features of an all block lesson. And we're also going to be planning to prepare and prep materials for our all block rotations in our classroom. So, as you can see, we have quite a bit of ground to cover in this series, but it's going to be really rich and really exciting learning. So let's talk about the all block and the particular components that we need to attend to. The first thing that we want to make sure that we understand is that the all block is in addition to what students are learning in their module lesson. So in the module lesson, students are engaging in 60 minutes of content related instruction. This is where their grade level college and career ready standards are being explicitly taught and formally assessed. In the all block, this is an extension of what they have learned with the module lessons. So students have additional time to practice skills. They also engage in deeper, more intentional content related reading. They're building up their vocabulary. They're building up their syntax. They're building up and having an opportunity to enhance their writing skills and abilities as well. If we look at those five key rotations or components of all block, you'll see them pop up on the screen in front of you. There is accountable independent reading, additional work with complex text, reading and speaking fluency, grammar usage and mechanics, writing practice, and word study and vocabulary. I'd like to take a moment or two to talk about each one of those key components in greater depth and detail so that we can all acquire a greater level of understanding and value and appreciation for what each one of these rotations adds to our students' learning. The first rotation that we're going to be talking about is the countable independent reading or that volume of reading component. This component is comprised of two different pieces. So our students are engaged in independent research reading where they're reading more on topics related to the module. And then they also engage in free choice reading where students can actually have more flexibility and leverage to choose the books that they want to read that might be more so on their reading level, but this is really to enhance our students' level for love and motivation towards reading. Accountable independent reading rotation is extremely important because, according to research, the more a student reads, the more a student is able to know about a given topic, about vocabulary, about the syntax, and about related topics that are related to that topic at hand. So, with this firmly in mind, the volume of reading was intentionally built in to the curriculum for our intermediate students. As students are engaging in accountable independent reading, they're growing in a number of areas. They're gaining a greater depth for background knowledge. They're also increasing their domain specific and their academic specific vocabulary. They're learning more about the syntax of sentences and how those sentences and phrases are put together. And as I said before, they're gaining a deeper love and motivation for reading books. The additional work with complex text rotation is also extremely important. This is where our students are rereading excerpts and text from the module lessons, but they're doing it with a specific focus. So they might be looking at, let's say, inferences, for instance, so that they can, again, glean more about the topic and they can go deeper with it. According to research, deep knowledge and syntax and strong vocabulary are things that our students need to be frequently immersed in if they want to be able to access complex text. In addition to that, research also says that students need increasingly more and more opportunities to engage with complex text when they are studying a single topic, because this is how students and acquire significant knowledge gains, especially with their rate of reading and their vocabulary acquisition, and also with their comprehension. You'll start seeing that whenever your students are engaging in this additional work with complex text, that they are improving their foundational reading skills and also their comprehension skills as well. So we want to make sure that our students are being engaged with more and more opportunities to read complex text on new topics. As they do so, They're gaining deeper knowledge. They're increasing their syntax. They're increasing their vocabulary acquisition, their rate of reading or fluency, and they're also growing in comprehension. So, those are skills that we definitely don't want our students to be able to miss out on. The third rotation that we're going to be looking at is reading and speaking fluency or grammar usage and mechanics. This rotation is actually twofold. So we want to make sure that our students are practicing oral reading fluency with speaking, with expression and also greater tonality in their voices, and also that they're paying attention to grammar rules as well. So you'll see activities in this rotation where students do things with the fluency. You'll also see where students are looking at different excerpts and they might read to appear in different voices. Maybe they're whisper reading an excerpt. Maybe they're reading it like an old man or just with a shaky voice, but they're just having multiple opportunities to read and reread complex text so they can begin to become more familiar with the words, the terms, and also so that they'll be flowing more fluently. The grammar usage and mechanics piece has to do with the mechanics of the written English language. So we're wanting our students to understand things like capitalization, punctuation. We're also wanting our students to understand and be able to make sense of the English language and how it's put together. So our students are looking at models of good writing and also working with that so that they can form their own models of good writing as well. The more students engage with reading and speaking fluency and grammar usage and mechanics, they're going to be building up their reading fluency, their reading comprehension, and also improving their writing skills and conventions, as well as their editing skills as well. When we look at the writing practice that our students are engaging with, this particular rotation is all about practicing specific skills. Students might be engaged in things like quick writes, or they might be looking at continuing some work that they started in the module lesson on a particular writing prompt. They are doing things where they can build up their muscle for writing. So they are looking at writing fluency and building up stamina for writing. They're also doing things like writing to learn. And what I mean by that is students are engaging in things like summary writing, or they're doing reflective pieces where, as they're moving through the flow of writing, they're actually thinking through the learning that they're having in the process. So this gives them practice to not only write fluently, but also to be more thoughtful in their questions and also their writing responses that they're coming up with. And then the third area of the writing practice is about communication. We want our students here in the School District of Philadelphia to be able to write to a variety of different audiences for a variety of different purposes. And so with the writing practice rotation, students are engaging in all different types of writing where they can really expound upon their foundational writing skills, and they can also sharpen their skills in their writer's craft and also the structure of writing as well. As students are engaging in this writing practice rotation, you'll see that they are increasing their skills with fluency, stamina, writing structure, and also writer's craft. And the last rotation that we're going to look at is the word study vocabulary rotation. This rotation is all about word analysis. Students are looking at words, they are dissecting words, they're pulling them apart, and they're also building up their vocabulary bank for words as well. We know in the world of literacy that in order to become strong and fluent readers, our students need to be exposed to a wide array of vocabulary. So they're looking at, again, academic specific vocabulary terms and also domain specific vocabulary terms as well. In the lower grade, students are learning how to read. So they're learning and working on skills for decoding. In the intermediate grades, in grades 3 through 5, it's more about the morphology. Students are looking at word parts, they're looking at suffixes, they're looking at prefixes, they're looking at affixes. They're looking at how words are put together and how words are used in complex text to emote meaning. Students who have a wide bank of vocabulary are able to read at a higher caliber of reading as opposed to other students who are not. And this is a way that we can work towards closing that achievement gap between those students who are on the higher echelon of reading performance and those who are struggling readers and writers. So the all block component is really instrumental in helping to close that achievement gap for our students. When students are engaging in word study and vocabulary, they're improving skills in spelling and syllabication because they have to actually practice writing those terms over and over again, as well as analyzing how those terms are put together. So there's that morphology piece. They're looking at spelling patterns of words, and they're also looking at academic and domain specific terms. So you'll see a lot of vocabulary games here, things like vocabulary grids or vocabulary squares. So students have multiple opportunities to engage with words on different levels in this rotation. If we were to look at all of these rotations together, let's take a look at what that might look like. So here's an example from grade 3. We all know that in grade 3, module 1, students are working on literacy learning challenges for reading. And in that particular module, some of the all block rotations that the students engage with are the accountable independent reading, where they have the free choice reading, and then they're going to be responding in their reading journals about the things that they are reading, whether that is independent research reading or if it was free choice reading. We have the additional work with complex text, where students are rereading the anchor text, overcoming writing challenges, and they're also identifying personal writing challenges of their own. We have the reading and speaking fluency, grammar usage, and mechanics rotation, where students are reading or rereading an excerpt from My Librarian is a Camel, and this time they're focusing on self-correcting. So you'll see students reading and rereading and rereading, but self-correcting themselves with the errors that they're making, and also setting goals for their reading as well. And then there's the writing practice, where students with the teacher are dissecting or sorting sentence strips, and they're also practicing the writing sentences, complete sentences with complete subjects and complete predicates. In word study and vocabulary, guess what? Students are working with analyzing the meaning of academic vocabulary words and using vocabulary squares and vocabulary grids to do so. As you see, when the students are engaging in the all block, they're deepening their level of understanding. They're reinforcing those skills that they've been working on in the module lesson. The things that they've learned in the modules are being enhanced by the work that they're doing with the all block. And all of these different activities extends students' learning so that they can grow and they can become proficient and fluent readers. This was section 1, part 1, 5 components of all block. In our next section, we are going to be exploring an all block lesson where we actually go inside a classroom here in the School District of Philadelphia. And we're going to look at the way one teacher puts together her all block rotations and what her classroom looks like in action. And in our last section, we're going to be planning and preparing and doing all of the prep work, or thinking through the planning process for how we can put together successful all block rotations of our own. Thank you so much for engaging with me in this first series, part 1, on all about all block, exploring the additional language and literacy component of the EL Education 3-5 Language Arts curriculum. Again, my name is Jackie Morrissey. I work with the Office of Curriculum and Instruction. If you have any additional questions about all block or anything that is ELA related at all, please feel free to email our office at ela@philasd.org. Thank you.